Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Rodriguez, and today I wanted to talk to you about the ethics of genetic editing and why our current policies are no longer enough to keep pace and with how quickly this science is evolving. So, for years, editing technology like the Chinese invented CRISPR was viewed as something that was distant, experimental, and confined to labs. Now it is a rapidly becoming a tool with real world applications in terms of medicine, agriculture, and even potential enhancements in the future. The speed of this progress has completely outpaced the frameworks meant to regulate it, which is currently putting us at a crossroads. Either we can create policies that protect people while allowing responsible scientific advancements, or we just allow the technology to continue developing without any clear or ethical guardrails. So that is the main reason why I believe we need change, and it's not to halt innovation, but it's to keep it humane and to keep it safe. So, as I mentioned, for years with the Chinese invented CRISPR, we thought that these things would be confined to labs. But as talked about and detailed in David Hunter's Gene and Clothing Ethics from the Opposing Viewpoints database, there needs to be responsible oversight. It becomes obvious once we consider what this genetic editing can do. Before I touch on what David Hunter said, on the positive side, it can offer some ability to treat certain inherited diseases, hereditary diseases. It can prevent certain cancers and dramatically just improve the quality of life. However, those benefits are shadowed by certain risks of unequal access, potential misuse for any non therapeutic enhancements, and any unknown long term effects that there might be for future generations. And from what it stands, what David Hunter said is that these Chinese scientists who took these macaw monkeys, they edited them to take out their sleep and wake cycles, and on the very extreme side of it, those some of those monkeys became violent, and some of those monkeys even started to display signs of schizophrenia. So, without any updated policies, decisions about how genetic editing is used is just going to fall into the hands of private companies, unregulated research groups, or just wealthier individuals who can afford these experimental procedures. So there needs to be a system that creates the, a system like that just creates ethical gaps that we can't ignore. And if that technology exists, someone's going to use it. And it's better for society to define those boundaries now rather than react to it later when there's already harm that's being done. So, to get into that, that's why I believe we need updated policies. There needs to be responsible oversight. There Without any updated policies, decisions of these things, as I mentioned, will just go into private hands, unregulated research groups, and that is detailed by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the ethical issues in genetics and genomics in 2020. So, some people argue that stronger regulation will slow scientific progress, but the practicality of this plan shows that responsible regulation does the opposite. We already have seen examples in medicine where clear guidelines can help research thrive, like stem cell research, organ transplants, and even vaccine developments. They all improve once ethical rules are established. So, a well designed oversight does not stop innovation. It's going to protect it, it's going to build public trust, and that is going to be essential if or when these treatments are going to be widely accepted and used. So, that gets into my next point, which is what is my proposed policy plan? So this is what I've come up with, as you can see here. My proposed policy is designed to protect public safety, prevent any unethical genetic manipulations, and ensure scientific responsibility progress. And I have coined it as the Genetic Editing Oversight and Transparency Act, or GEOTA. So the reason why I've created this is because the current U.S. policy does have major gaps, as I've cited here. There is no unified federal law that regulates all forms of genetic editing and cloning. So that also means, as I mentioned before, there's private labs, biotechnology firms that can conduct these experiments without too much oversight. And again, as I've mentioned, with the Chinese CRISPR embryos, they were allowed to edit those monkeys' genes. And as I mentioned, and also in David Hunter's research, they mentioned just how bad these things can go, just how sour they can get. So that is my policy, but I want to get into the what and the how of it. So the what is, we need a clear policy, and the what is, you need to establish those clear boundaries, ensure that whatever organisms are being edited, there needs to be long-term monitoring to see what happened at the beginning and towards the end of it, and also there needs to be transparency to the public so they know what was done, what was it done to, and just how long has that research been going on. And any institutions performing these clonings, and this goes into the how of it, any institutions performing these genetic clonings or gene editing must obtain what I call a GOTA bioethics license. So that's going to require them to get approval from a federal board of ethics. There needs to be internal committee documentation, basically meaning that these companies that do these types of research, there need to have a committee of people who are dedicated to talking about the ethics of it and documenting it. And of course, also proving that there is trained personnel and safety protocols in case of anything going awry. So that is my presentation about gene editing and the ethics of it. In the end, genetic editing is not something we can avoid discussing or delay deciding on, because it's already here and its impact is only going to grow. We have the opportunity to shape its future in a way that balances hope with responsibility. So I'm urging you to support stronger, updated genetic editing policy. And it's not out of fear, it's just because we need to do so to protect people, to ensure fairness, and allow that science can reach its full potential without compromising any ethics. So I hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you very much, and have a great night.